Well, I actually came to post here on the 4th of May last year. So I'd experienced pandemic in my old trust with the initial compliancy measures that we were making, but obviously coming here to a new trust and in a new role was quite a challenge. I started here during the first week. Obviously we'd lost one of our neonatal colleagues, Vish, and that actually happened. His funeral happened the day that I started here. So that was very fresh, obviously, for everybody. And then sadly, the second week that I was here, we lost Safa, one of our midwives. So in my role as Professional Midwifery Advocate, a large part of that is to support the staff. And so I found that actually very challenging, really, to help the staff when I didn't really know anybody, really. I was still very much orientated into my new role.
It was just really, really weird because you were still coming to work, seeing the same people, but the whole place just seemed different, really quiet. There was no visitors, nobody walking around, no relatives around. It was just really, really weird at first. Became used to it, but it just seemed really strange. And there was obviously less people around coming to work in the streets as well. It was just really, it was unreal at times. That's how I felt.
As part of my advocacy role as PMA, the PMA team were really good, and we actually instigated a tea round, which sounds quite trivial, but I found that to be so helpful. We would just get a tea trolley and take it. We'd start up on the top floor and work our way down to all the areas, all the clinical areas where the midwives were, offering drinks and just talking to staff and asking how they were, and also it gave me a chance to introduce myself to everybody, and that was quite pivotal, I felt, in me kind of being out there and seeing how the areas worked and how the staff were, and just putting my face out there a bit, really.
Just team spirit of togetherness. We used to support each other.
Thinking about how we're going to continue to deliver the quality education to the staff. So with the social distancing constraints, that was really quite challenging. So we were having to think about different ways that we could provide the education that was going to comply with the safety constraints imposed by government regulations.
For me personally, it was really difficult at first. I remember transferring a couple of ladies up to the ward from recovery on delivery suite, and having to leave their partners at the lift almost was just horrible. It was right at the very beginning. No one was being moved around the hospital with the family. That was quite hard. Losing a couple of colleagues as well to COVID early on, I found quite difficult at first. That still stays with me now, really.
It has taught me a lot, but what I would say my take-home message is appreciation. Learn to appreciate your colleagues. And it has changed the way we do our jobs, the way we communicate.
Not to take a lot of stuff for granted. Things change every day.
So it's changed the team as a whole. To be fair, when we started, there was only 2 of us in the team. It was just me and my other colleague. But as time progressed, the team grew bigger, and we got to appreciate the more people came in, the more we could see the changes in our team and how we were growing, and how we then appreciated one another.
We weren't really in much of a team to start with. There was only Dudu and I, and everyone else has joined during the pandemic. So that was actually nice in some respects, but difficult for the team members that came behind, because I think it's difficult to join a new organisation in the middle of a sort of crisis.
Well, do you know what? I see the women come in, and I see them coming in on their own for their appointments, and I just think it's been such a challenging time to be pregnant, to be coming in for appointments, to be, to have to attend on your own. and I know for some women it's had a massive impact on them. But I think it's really, you know, midwives have really stepped up to the mark, I think, to provide that extra amount of support.
I would say the people, strangers, who would appreciate the type of job you are doing as the NHS, and they would extend their gratitude by giving you some donations. That just goes to show how much we are appreciated, and that keeps everything going.